otherwise obnoxious. Well, a very good evening, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH 286, Patricia and David. And yet again, it's a beautiful evening here at Gulf Harbour. I'm anxious to tell you that at the moment, because there will come a time in the not too distant future where it will not be a beautiful evening and where we will be very envious of the boats up there in Fiji. And boy, is Fiji a popular place. There are about 16 at a rough count coming from French Polynesia, and there's two gaggles of about a dozen in each gaggle coming from, no, what did you say there, gaggle? Slug of boats coming from New Zealand. It's a very, very popular place. Everyone anxious to stretch their wings and get away from the humdrum of the working life or the winter life, whatever it is. Those of you who are listening to us the last week or so will be pleased to know that Seeker is now in Sabu Sabu. They were there this morning when I checked, and we have got quite a few other boats on their way. So what is the conditions here that you're missing? 1018 on the bar and, 1019 on the bar and rising, 2 to 5% cloud cover, 20 degrees, and it's 5:15. How's that for a lovely day? We had a lot of rain about 4 or 5 o'clock this morning, but then it stopped and we actually got quite a bit of things done. 3 knots from the south, they say at the moment, but I can't see anything moving, but the boats are facing south out the window, and a tiny little bit of breeze. Okay, this is Gulf Harbour Radio. We're listening to anybody that's out there. I'll just see if Blue Oceans is on frequency. Blue Oceans, Blue Oceans. Are you there, Simon?
Blue Oceans here. Repeating you clearly, Patricia. Thank you.
Oh, and you're coming through really well too. So, how's it going? And go ahead with your report, over.
Oh, thank you, Patricia. So we're in position 23 degrees 36 minutes south at 177 degrees 43 minutes east. We're making about 7.5 knots and about 8 to 15 knots southeast winds. And of course we're trying to follow about 351 degrees magnetic. Over.
Okay, for those that didn't copy Simon because you're booming into New Zealand, but 2336 south, 17743 east, 7.5 knots on a course of 351 magnetic with 8 to 15 knots of southeast wind. Oh, I'd say that sounds pretty comfortable. So looking at sometime Friday, is that correct, over?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at. I think we'd like to get there in the afternoon if possible, but we just see how conditions play out. But yeah, I think Friday sometime we'll arrive at something. So.
Yeah, well, it's going to be pretty busy by the look of it, with all these boats coming across with very good winds. They're enjoying the southeast winds coming across from French Polynesia. So you might have to practice up your French there, but they'll probably get you to have a look. I think there are a few French boats, and they might just whip past Fiji and go on, but there's a raft of different boats, Netherlands and who else have we got here? Yeah, there's quite a few French boats, actually, US. So yes, it will be quite interesting. Well, my computer's just decided to die, which is not too good. Pass the microphone to David, see if he's got anything to tell people.
Well, always a problem, it seems. Well, to all of you that are listening and you, Simon, it sounds like you're doing well. Presently, we've got a pretty strong anti-cyclone that's residing in the mid-Tasman, just west of New Zealand, and it's providing those beautiful winds that are all hitting a southerly quadrant, so really quite fantastic. Looking at your Friday weather, going into Sabu Sabu, see, take a little look at what the latest thoughts are on that. Well, we've got, well, Simon, you mentioned there was some concerns from your rider about low off to the east. Well, it's still there. Still will be there on Friday. And it's pushing up a quasi-stationary front that runs up almost through Fiji that goes to the north of, goes, sorry, it's going through Tonga. And then it's from that point just to the north of Fiji, so it shouldn't be bothering you much, other than expect some cloud that will be on the periphery of this quasi-stationary front. Might be some wind in that. The models are in disagreement. The direction on Friday, they seem to agree on south-southeast, but some are saying 17 to 20, 22 knots. Others are calling about 15 knots. But all, again, from the southerly quadrant, so it shouldn't be too bad for you. I don't see any, well, I do see a little bit of rain possibly projected for the afternoon on Friday. It's Friday the 13th. Oh boy. Oh well. We won't worry about that. So that's about it. For those boats that are going to be skipping the weekend, not wanting to arrive on, say, Sunday, on Monday, GFS is picking up tropical low that's just north of Vanuatu. They're putting the position of that about 14 and 170 east. And Sabu winds at that point would be southeast around 20 knots, regarding conditions based upon really not from that low at all. That low looks like it may actually dissipate. One of the models actually has it disappearing fairly rapidly after Monday. But anyway, we haven't really heard from anybody else. So anyway, any other questions, Simon? Over.
Thanks very much, Dave. That's good. What about on Friday? What about the swell? What do you think they're going to be doing? Over.
I'm going to give it back to Patricia and do a look-see. So hang fire.
And I've got my computer up and running. It's got a Windows program that doesn't tell you the battery status, and I have to admit that I have had it off the power for some time while I was playing around today. But it seems that everything continued because I have greetings from Lupan, Malay, and Ulla up there in Whangarei, dealing with their COVID they picked up on their trip back to New Zealand. Gosh, wouldn't you just what bad luck. But anyway, I'm sure they are working hard on their boat inside, isolated from everybody, and I hope they have the energy to do that. And g'day, Rich, Podgian. It's been a while. It certainly has. Wow, it's good to hear see some familiar faces. Getting organised. There are a couple of boats we heard from today with suffering from the shortage of parts in New Zealand. Boy, it is a real problem getting stuff into the country. I have ordered a ham radio. It's actually coming from the States, but it's got a 5-month delay. We took cushions into recovering today and just the vinyl for it, again delayed, and try and get the colour umbrella that you want, also from the States, is a real hassle. So, yeah, for people that are wanting anything from China, it is a major, major problem. A lot of electronic parts are in very short supply. They have shut down 30 major cities, 30 major cities in China are shut down with COVID. They are still trying to eliminate COVID from the country. Boy, but anyway, it's it is a problem trying to get things. You really have to book way, way ahead to try and find something. So anyway, if anyone is in Fiji and is needing something, get it ordered as soon as you get there, and hopefully it's nothing major. All right, I'm going to pass the microphone. Looking at the swell for Fiji, and in this case, Savu.
Yeah, so looking at Friday in the 13th, Basically, we're looking about, I hope you don't mind me talking in terms of feet, about
Oh
10 feet.
no.
We'll call it 2.5 to maybe 3 meters, just south of Pendavu. And then as you're rolling up to the Coro Sea, yeah, it'll probably still be about that height. The actual swell itself is coming from. It looks like it's going to be. Looks like it's going to be out of the south-southeast, but then you may have some wind waves on top of that. That just depends on what the winds are doing right around the Big Island and some of the smaller ones. But yeah, around 10 feet, I'd say. Over.
Oh, thanks very much, Dave. That's good. So we'll just probably compare a pretty good swell and ride that in. Thanks. Over.
Yeah, good. All righty. Well, we'll see if anything changes tomorrow. I'll make note to be prepared to let you know what I see tomorrow, and we'll go from there. So, okay, back to Chris.
All right. Well, I'm looking outside and we cancel that 20% cloud cover I see because as we've been talking, there's a huge black cloud with pink bits in it. So I'm not sure what's going on out there, but I suspect it's going to rain again, which is good news for those of us with water tanks. All right, I think that's it with Blue Oceans. They seem to be enjoying life, but a quick question. Did anyone try fishing today, Simon? Over?
Sorry, I missed that, Patricia. Could you repeat?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if anyone tried fishing today. Over?
I had a brand new Tingaloo, and within half an hour of dropping in, I think it was a marlin, just ripped it off my hair, so I lost a lot.
Oh, no. Oh, I was talking to somebody on the dock today. I was admiring their sport fishing chair and their incredible. They had 4 rods with amazing big reels on them, and they were bemoaning the fact that they did not have any luck this season. We've had, as you probably know, the northeast and east swells just made it really miserable. They got one to the boat, got with the swell. They couldn't get it close enough to do anything. But oh well, I won't tell them how easy it was to catch a marlin where you were. But I bet it was. Did you actually get to see it, or did it just rip things off and depart? Over.
Yeah, so it had a couple of hits, and then it caught, and it took off, and we couldn't slow the yacht down enough, and yeah, just broke the line and everything, and that's a proper game fishing rod and reel. But anyway, no one behind us in that team that I kept these things because she doesn't know what to do with all the meat.
Yeah, I know. And well, it was a little bit like us when we started fishing up at Great Barrier because I had filled the freezer with meat, and then we started catching a lot of fish. And what to do with it? It was sort of no, we can't fish today. We never got enough room, even though we were eating it rather quickly. Oh dear! Oh well. You'll have to sort of make a smaller lure and hope for a mahi mahi or a wahoo. Over.
That's exactly how things have been going later on, but still my wife won't let me because she doesn't reckon we can eat it all. But anyway, we'll see. I hear in the fleet going up, there's a few people catching mahi-mahi, so that'll be good. I guess my bucket fish is a yellowfin tuna. I've caught many mahi-mahi, so that was our swimming board. Over.
Yeah, I would prefer mahi mahi to tuna, although the yellowfin is good, especially if you like it raw. Well, I tell you what, when you get a bit closer, you'll have no trouble with the locals. They'll think you're the kingpin if you can bring some fish in for people. So there'll be no trouble getting willing hands to take it off you. So, oh well, good luck when you get a little bit closer. Maybe it's best to wait a bit. Wow, it's good to know that there are a lot of fish out there, though. So well done, the people who are catching fish. All right, well, clear with Blue Oceans. In case there's anybody else wanting to make contact, please come now.
Somerset, sailing visual towards Fiji. We're also with a rally and we're sailing with Blue Ocean Bella.
So you're Somerset, good evening to you, and you go into Sabu, over?
Yes, we are heading for Sabu, and hopefully we can get there by Friday as well, over.
Oh, good show. Do you want to give me your position? I'll just, hang on, I'm turning on my AIS and just seeing where Somerset is. But is it quite easy to ask you? Go ahead, over.
We are at 24 degrees, 28 minutes, 700 south, 177 degrees east, and 53 minutes. Over.
Yeah, I guess your conditions, it's Somerset at 2428 or 29 really south and 17753 east. And I guess you've got pretty much the same conditions, just about 8 to 15 from the southeast. What's your speed and course, over?
Our speed is 7 knots and our course is 338 over.
I need the course again because according to AIS, you're a catamaran. They've got you at 7.1. No, that's pretty in line, but they've got you on a course of 020. That would be true. So what did you say your course was now, over?
Sorry, I got it wrong. It was actually 3 degrees. Our course is 3 degrees over.
Okay, all right, 3 degrees. So that would be, I guess, magnetic. All right. Oh well, and is all well on board? How many crew have you got on that cat, over?
We've got 4 crew, 1 adult, 3 children, and we've been sailing quite well and catching quite a bit of fish actually, over.
Ooh, those kids must be good fisher people. That's quite a... What are their ages? That's amazing, over.
I am 15 and the other ones are 14 and 13. And then we caught a mahi today, and we had 2 rods and 2 hand lines in, and you just have to have the rod in, and you'll definitely catch something, over.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we usually sail with 2 lines out too, and then often the mahi, I don't actually feel a bit sad because they're often in pairs, aren't they? And if you catch one, you normally catch the other one pretty much straight away. All right, so good meals for a while with the mahi. Was it a big one, over?
It wasn't too big, but it was, we had one bite at the early morning, and it was definitely big. It definitely tried to take our whole line, but it got off. And then later in the evening, we got a 50-centimeter mahi over.
Ooh, that's a good one. Oh, what excitement on board. Well, I tell you what happens when we caught a fish when we were cruising. The first thing we did was strip down to our underpants because David said, don't tell them that. Well, we did because it ends up a lot of blood everywhere and it's a lot easier to get the blood off your body than it is off clothes. So we would strip off and David would start pulling it in, and I would probably reduce sail and go and get the gaff and the icky stick and stuff like that. Usually the pain of it was if it was on the port side because that's the side where all the lines were, reefing lines and so on, and there's nothing like sitting in a cockpit smelling dried blood on the lines. But anyway, we'd try and minimise the blood, and so he would reel it in and I would gaff it, and then of course the work starts. So I'm sure everyone is a little bit different, but yeah, it was always great to the excitement of it all. But boy, if you're going too fast and you've got a marlin on, that is a completely different story. But nevertheless, it's still great fun.
Yes, Roger, it's definitely fun, and we hopefully will get a big money tomorrow morning. We start quite early tomorrow morning, 5:30 with Roger, because that's when my shift ends up.
Yeah, it's interesting. We just sort of left them there until. What sort of lure did you use for the mahi mahi? Was it, sort of like a solid lure or one, with all the tassels? And if so, what colour? Over?
We had a small squid lure with a little weight at the front of it, so it just sinks just under the surface. And then we had another one, it's actually with a tuna lure, but I think mahi if they're hungry, they will go for anything. So the tuna lure was blue and white, and it had feathers over.
Oh, right, that's interesting. Yeah, because often we get told that you need to have a little bit of red showing, sort of blood-like look, but I don't know about that. I think you're right. If they're hungry, they'll go for a big spoon. So, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, well, thank you for calling in. It's always good to know that somebody is out there, and we'll look for you again tomorrow. I hope the kids do well with their fishing tomorrow. So I'll clear with Somerset. Was there any questions that you had to ask before I go on to anything else over?
No questions. Thanks for listening in, and we'll check in tomorrow as well.
Okay, and I'm going to pass on to everybody a hi from Vicky and the cruising team up there, Astrolab Sailing. So Vicky's keeping track of you all, as you can imagine, and probably marvelling and very appreciative of the fantastic weather conditions that all you folk have got, even the ones that are leaving now. It's just absolutely amazing. Great conditions. So hi Vicky, and we'll do another call. If there's anybody else, please call now. Oh, hello Peter, and I bet you have had a very restful day. Over.
Yeah, it was pretty restful, but it was a very long check-in procedure. We're finally cleared in. We arrived last night at about 9 p.m. Had a nice mahi yesterday on the way in, and yeah, lots of boat jobs trying to just get back from passage mode to cruising mode. Over.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not going to be too difficult to get from passage mode to cruising mode. Just while you're there, would you mind giving a brief rundown of this rather lengthy check-in procedure so that others can get a feel for it? Over.
Well, Roger. I think, those coming to Sabu, probably the best thing to do is to call the Harbour Marina on your way on Channel 16, and then they will help to organize the arrival of all the various folks. And apparently we were the first boat to clear in from New Zealand for the season. There was one other boat that cleared in today from French Polynesia, and I think maybe they're just sort of needing to remember what they need to be doing.
Yeah, well, you were first and broke the ice, so to speak. Yes, I saw that German boat. I was wondering whether you'd beat it or not. So, all right, so it's just a matter of calling the copper shed, channel 16, when you're within calling distance, I guess, around the resort there, and let them know you're on the way, and they will assist with the procedure, which I'm sure will get refined as they get practice for everything coming in. So any other hints that you might have, Peter? Over.
Not really. It was pretty straightforward, but they were just a bit confused. At first, they had us go to the dock, and we sat there for a couple of hours until they realized that there's some rule that they can't board a vessel that's at a dock, so we then had to go out to a mooring.
Oh, that's good to pass on. So They cannot board a vessel at the dock. You have to be on a mooring. So when you come in, just sort of clarify that with the Copper Shed folk. And if you haven't been to Sabu Sabu before, I guess you'll certainly work it out. There's probably enough moorings at this stage anyway to cope. But boy, there's a lot of boats coming across from French Collie. And then of course there will be the rally boats and those coming up from New Zealand behind you. All right, well, have another good restful night and a long cold beer or whatever. Does David want something?
Not for him, though. I'll save something.
No, he wants something for. No, thanks for coming up, Peter, and yeah, well done all the crew on Seeker. I'll just pass the microphone to David.
Yeah, just a word for maybe some of the other rally boats that have delayed a bit and are slowly working their way north. Just be aware that come Friday, Friday the 13th, once you're up around 30 south at that point, you unfortunately are going to be in a bit of a swap zone between the high, which is going to be over New Zealand, and the depression that we've been talking about. That's probably by Friday will be about 28 south and about 17, maybe 177, 175 west. Anyway, a pretty good squash. You're looking at 30 knots of wind, 30 knots, and the gusts could be higher. And all that's thanks to that very, very strong high. Once you get further north, it'll be a little bit easier on you. But anyhow, just thought I'd mention that. I'm sure you're all getting your weather from some source or another. But just be aware of that. Yeah, that's it for me.
All right, and I think one of the people that are not part of the rally are still a little bit further behind that group, so things will change a little bit by the time they get there. Okay, is there anybody else wanting to make contact? Nothing heard. Great signals, by the way, from Somerset and Blue Oceans and Seeker, so good propagation at the moment. All right, have a very good evening, you boats on passage, and have an extra special evening if you have arrived, and we will be back again tomorrow, same time, 5:15 New Zealand time, 0515 UTC. And if there's anybody wanting to make contact, ghradio@extra.co.nz. Extra is just XTRA. Cheers, everybody. Have a good night. We are clear, and the frequency is yours if you want it.